What is up, Bucs fans? Rhett Matthew back today with another video about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We are a day removed from the Bucs' 28-23 loss at the hand of the New England Patriots. And in this video, we're going to highlight the best and worst players from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Week 10 performance. Again, a disappointing loss coming out of the bye week. I think a lot of finger pointing going to be happening after a loss like this. Some discussions to be had about coaching decisions, and maybe we'll talk about that a little bit today as well. But I want to talk about, first and foremost, the best that the Buccaneers had to offer. It was a disappointing day for the offensive side of the ball, but I do think a couple of players were able to step up and really just highlight the playmaking ability that they have had so far this season. And it's a couple of rookies, highlighting first the wide receiver Emeka Egbuka led the team in receiving 6 receptions, 115 yards, and 1 touchdown. This is a guy who, again, is going to be facing more critical matchups as the season goes on without Mike Evans, without Chris Godwin in that wide receiver room. He had a pretty tough matchup against Christian Gonzalez on Sunday, and Gonzalez did a really good job of clamping down and taking away some of those downfield opportunities for Baker Mayfield, and that did lead to some of the shortcomings on the offensive side of the ball, but Egbuka still got his, showed off those separation skills, and I think still is showing a lot of people why they should be excited about the future of this kid here in Tampa Bay. Another rookie wide receiver on the board for Tampa Bay, 4 receptions, 42 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Tez Johnson, the 7th-round draft pick, who I think a lot of people were, speculative at the start of the season on his realistic chances to make this Buccaneers football team. And not only has he made the team, he is stepping up and been a key contributor over the last month and a half for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as they continue to weather the storm of wide receiver injuries. So another strong day for Tez Johnson. Just 2 guys in that wide receiver room who are continuing to shine under the absence of Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Some guys that you hope to be contributors here in Tampa Bay for the long term. So good to see that from them. Cade Otton, another guy who stepped up on the offensive side of the ball, 9 receptions, 82 yards, no touchdown, but he tied his career high for receptions in a single game. So for Cade Otton, another guy who I think a lot of fans were, I would say, undeservedly critical of in the beginning of the season. He has stepped up and showed people that not only can he block with the best of them in the NFL, he can go out there and he can serve as a bit of a safety net for quarterback Baker Mayfield. Going back to that stat line, 9 receptions, led the team in catches. While Egbuka did lead the team in receiving yards, Cade Otton stepped up, had a huge day, and continues to be a huge asset for this Buccaneers football team. Not only in the pass game, but getting his nose dirty on some block attempts as well. You love to see it from Cade Otton. On the defensive side of the ball, wanted to highlight Tyke Smith. He had 8 tackles, 2nd in the team, and 1 interception. His first interception since December of 2024. That was an interception, quite honestly, that set the Buccaneers offense up with a chance to win that game late in the 4th quarter. They could not get the job done, unfortunately, not able to play complementary football, something that we had talked about on the post-game episode. But Tyke Smith has been making plays like this for Tampa Bay all season long. His first interception of the season, but he's just a physical football player. He's been in the right place at the right time, and he's doing a really good job tackling. He put on another showcase Sunday against New England. It's a shame that interception isn't going to be remembered in a more fond light. That should have been the moment for Tampa Bay, and I will stand on that hill. Getting into the worst for the Buccaneers against New England, have to highlight a rookie here, and really you hate to see it, but Benjamin Morrison at the cornerback position had a rough afternoon against New England. And I think the interesting part of this conversation, which is going to come later in this video, was the decision for him to still continue to rotate snaps between Jamel Dean and at times Zayn McCollum. But when Benjamin Morrison was on the field and Jamel Dean was not, it seemed like New England had an easy target, and they were picking on Benjamin Morrison quite a bit. He got beat on one of the explosive touchdown plays for New England, and had a few other shortcomings outside of that. I can't blame him entirely because I do think that coaching is part of the conversation here, but we'll get to that shortly. Before we talk about coaching, I want to talk about Chris Braswell. And I want to highlight Chris Braswell, not because I'm picking on him more than anybody else in this Buccaneers pass rush. It was overall a disappointing performance for this Bucs pass rush. But with Hassan Reddick going to be injured for an undisclosed amount of time still, he's going to be missing in action. Yaya Diaby can't do it by himself. And at the end of the day, Chris Braswell is a second-round draft pick that I think the Buccaneers had some stock in heading into this season. They expected more out of him than what they have gotten so far this season, and time again, he just kind of looks like a guy out there. I think he looks far too pedestrian at this point, and it's critical for a Buccaneers defense, especially a pass rush, which is missing some of its star power right now. So Chris Braswell is a guy who had some extra expectations placed on him in the absence of some of these other guys, and I just don't think he's doing as much with it as he should, at least as much as I would like to see out of a second-round draft pick. And I'm going to close here and talk about Todd Bowles. And, we can take this conversation a number of different ways. We can talk about the lack of preparation for this Buccaneers unit in all three phases. But specifically, I want to talk about that situation I highlighted with Benjamin Morrison and Jamel Dean rotating snaps. There were multiple third down conversions given up to New England on Sunday where Jamel Dean just wasn't on the field. And I think that to some degree, when it's already been highlighted this season that the Buccaneers are short in star power, it just doesn't make sense to me to take your stars off of the field. Benjamin Morrison has had a decent rookie campaign. We have to give him that much. But when he becomes a clear target for Drake May and the New England offense, I don't understand why he was still out there by himself. I thought Jamel Dean was rotating in and out far too often. And there were times where he needed to be on the field and he simply wasn't. And I don't know if that was ultimately the deciding factor in them losing this game. Again, we talk about the shortcomings on offense, but decisions like that are kind of a question mark. And I think that when something like that happens, it at least deserves to be highlighted and talked about. But outside of that, on the defensive side of the ball, there were 4 50-plus yard plays allowed by Tampa Bay. So regardless of these conversions that I'm talking about and rotating in and out, the explosive plays were there against this Buccaneers defense, plays that haven't been there against any other team so far this season. So it's going to be an issue that's going to have to be addressed, and all eyes going to be on head coach Todd Bowles, because when this defense sputters, and some of it due to personnel decisions that the coach is really the only one who has a say-so in it, I think it's going to be fair to question the thought process there. So all storylines to monitor here throughout the rest of the week, but the Buccaneers look to continue to get healthy. They have another tough road test this coming Sunday against the Buffalo Bills, a Bills team who is no doubt frustrated after laying an egg in Miami last weekend. So the Bucs certainly going to have their hands full. But that's going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you think. Who were your best? Who were your worst players? And what do you think of the conversation that I laid out in front of you today? What are your thoughts on Todd Bowles here, sitting with a 6-3 record through the Bucs' first 9 games in 2025? We will see you in the next one. Until then, and as always, thank you for listening, and go Bucs.